My friends, welcome to Xenon Racer. If you're like me, first of all, my condolences, but second, you've learned you can't always trust the screenshots and promotional videos when deciding on a game. Such was the case here. Xenon looked awesome when the devs first showed it off, but wound up looking and playing, a bit worse than those perfectly curated videos, especially on console. Over the coming months, the developers did update the game though, so did they ever actually fix it? First, the review. Xenon Racer is a futuristic, non-combat racing game from 3D Clouds, developers of such bangers as, you all ready for this? All-Star Fruit Racing and Paw Patrol Grand Prix. Just saying, some red flags do exist. It's not an AG racer, but it does incorporate anti-gravity as part of the story. Here in 2030, hover cars exist, but they wanted to test to see which cars were faster. So congratulations, Wheels, you get a big branching championship to prove them wrong. And you'll unlock new cars and performance bits to keep you competitive along the way. Now, handling is drift-based, both for speed and building your boost meter, but it's also the first real tripping point for the game. Long story short, you need to keep your drift and handling stats just right if you want to get around the track quickly. Drift too low, you'll struggle to enter turns or switchbacks, and without handling, or grip, you'll slide into the outside wall. But go too far and you'll never straighten out. The sweet spot's just a little above halfway. This all leads to the next issue though. The problem is you need to win races to unlock those better parts and stat boosts, and you'll struggle to do that on normal. This is one of those games where you kinda need to unlock everything first on easy, then work your way through on regular or higher, but they never tell you that. Good game design can handle this by showing multiple trophies for each race. It signals to the player, hey, you'll want to go through this in order to build up your stats. That's not here in Xenon. It's also one of those games where the brakes behave opposite of how you'd think. The foot brake, or left trigger, is only a light brake. It's mostly for starting drifts, while the hand brake is for hard or panic stops. If that sounds opposite of how it should be, that's because it is, but it's not unheard of in an arcade racing game. All of this is kind of a shame because when you know the tricks and when you have your car set up right, Xenon can be an exciting game. It calls back to the good days of Ridge Racers 6 and 7, that great flow of nailing drifts to earn boost, using boost to gain speed, and using that speed to gain more boost. When you've got the gameplay figured out, there is fun to be had here, but you need to jump through a lot of hoops to get there. One issue that can't be worked around though is presentation or graphics. What you've been seeing is the PC version on a fairly good rig. I have an i7 with a 3070 Ti, and while it's not the insane build that some people have, it's more than capable of handling recent big games. And yeah, it manages to run Xenon at full 4K 60, but only with the cooling fans running like jet engines. The truth is, Xenon Racer is wildly unoptimized even today, and especially on consoles. Now, in the months following its launch, the developers did add a performance mode, but this comes at the cost of image quality. Seen here is the Xbox version. In quality mode, it runs with full texture resolutions at 4K, but the frame rate is in the low teens. In performance mode, you do get 60 frames per second, but only with a sharp drop in texture and screen resolution. The Switch version just barely touches 30 FPS in performance, and while that's playable for an old head like me, the resolution and texture quality are pretty low. The only good news is that it barely looks any better in quality mode, so you can kinda set it and forget it. The Switch has had some amazing ports. Xenon Racer is kind of the opposite. Even in the best case scenario though, with a beefy PC, it's hard to see why Xenon taxes everything. I mean, the cars do look good, even I'll admit the cars totally look like Hot Wheels and have bits of transformation or active aero. My 9-year-old self was totally digging the garage, but the environments and effects could easily be from a few generations back. They're not ugly and the sense of speed is there. I just don't get what's pushing the hardware. And come on, where's the smoke show? Half the fun of shredding tires is the billows of white smoke. Since it's been ages since the last updates, I think it's safe to say Xenon is in its final form. So no, they never really did fix this. And even if the tech issues were ironed out, I think the real problem is it's a product of the wrong era. It's just too simple, too generic. Had this come out in the 90s on the PlayStation 1, yeah, this would have been the perfect weekend rental. One of those, yeah, it had some cool cars and was really fast, but I finished it already, so I'm going back to Gran Turismo. We've seen all these environments before, and the gameplay is just too quirky unless you know exactly how to play it. The bar is simply higher now, so unless you have a good PC and literally nothing else in your racing backlog, I might give Xenon a pass. But feel free to tell me I'm wrong. Thank you so much for watching, and no matter what, be sure to keep going, because you are worth it. Also, Xenon's a noble gas. The whole point is that they're less reactive and combustible. Come on, guys, did anyone do your research?